Hey guys, Sundown Rider here. This is going to be my chapter review to Nanatsu no Taizai 246 and 247, A Chance Meeting and Collection. Now, I've already recorded this review twice and things have gone down. The camera I was using was a DSLR first, and then I realized I don't actually know how to use a DSLR, so that kind of messed up the second time around. Someone came in during the review, and then I realized I was using Audacity to record the mic, so I couldn't just pause. And then so I'm recording this the second time around, so let's get it right this time. Well, the third time round even. But so these chapters I really enjoyed. I'm also hoping to fix my mic up during this review. I'm gonna adjust the audio in Audacity while after the recording, so it should be okay. I think I know what to do. But yeah, these two chapters were really good. I really enjoyed them, and they could really be summarized by saying Meliodas came, saw, and conquered. There were several bits though, and several little tidbits of information and occurrences which happened, which really made these chapters that much better. They were just really good. And first up in this whole debate and this whole kind of review is what is up with Estarossa's dream. He's never encountered Elizabeth before, but he knows who she is. He sees her and he's like, "Are you Elizabeth?" And she's like, "Well, shit, yeah, I am." And he's just like, "Okay." So she asks him what he's doing there all alone in his dream. She's like, "What?" In the dream world, she's like, "What are you doing here all alone?" And she asks him whether he's fought his older brother again, which is the only older brother he has is Meliodas. His younger brother is Zeldaris. So I was like, okay, this is a bit weird. Why is she asking him that? Is that something you just ask someone you don't know? Surely she knows of his fights with his brother before that, so she knows him a bit. And I'm just like, how does she know Estarossa? Because she doesn't even know that she knows Estarossa until she sees him, and she's like, I kind of know this guy a bit. I feel like I've met him somewhere before. And it can't just be that she recognizes him from the wanted posters of Meliodas, So it's all a bit weird, and she like asking that type of thing. It's just really weird. And did Elizabeth? For me, it's the question is did Elizabeth know Estarossa prior to knowing Meliodas, or did she know him after knowing Meliodas, or did she even know Estarossa beforehand at all? And is this like a love triangle thing? Like Estarossa first met her, he started liking her, and then somehow she met Meliodas, she fell in love with him, and Meliodas fell in love with her. That doesn't really seem likely, because Meliodas would have killed her, seeing as she was a goddess, and he was a badass back then, as much of a badass as he is now, but he's still got some of his emotions at the moment, even though he is stronger than he was back then. He does still actually like and love what's her name, Elizabeth. So really, it's who is Estarossa in terms of his history. Elizabeth, like I said, feels as if she's met him before. That can't just be because she's seen the wanted poster, and he can't explain, Estarossa, how he knows it. He's like, I can't really explain how I know you. So is it too far-fetched to maybe think that he might be a part of Meliodas, which was split from him at birth? He seemed a bit different this chapter when I'm talking about Estarossa. He seemed more energetic, more crazy, and definitely lusting after Elizabeth. Something is definitely up about him, and I can't help but wonder that Estarossa is way more important to the story than we've been thinking about him, or thinking of him up to date. We knew he was going to be important just because he was one of the three great evil stars, because he's one of the three sons of the Demon King, and because he's the prince of the demons. But there's nothing really we've ever attributed to him, and now he's having these dreams about Elizabeth. She's had a dream about him, and they seem to know each other from somewhere. So I'm thinking maybe there was a time when goddesses and demons lived together in harmony, and then something went down, or some shit went down that forced them to break apart, and then like swear this feud against each other or something. But that's the only other way I can see her knowing Estarossa without him even like having some sort of hatred towards it, because they don't like the goddesses and they don't like the demons. So there's got to be something going on there, and I don't know what it is, but they seem to know of each other, so that's something to watch out for. We're then introduced to a new character, a new demon by the name of Peronia. She nursed Estarossa back to health, and he says that she's experimented on him. She may have made him a bit stronger, she may have tweaked him in some ways. We don't know what she can do. But the question is, we've seen Peronia before in a few chapters ago, when you see Estarossa in that demon egg thing, and he's basking in the waters, and there's this lady next to him with a heart above her head, and she's obviously got a thing for him, that was her basically. And what I'm assuming is what I thought was maybe she might be his teacher, because she's got enough clearance to experiment on a prince. That's a big thing. She speaks to him in a casual manner, Estarossa. So and she follows him into the throne room where there's Cusack, Chandler, Zeldaris, and Meliodas. They're the big shots. They're higher level demons, so she can't just go into their presence in the Camelot throne room and listen to what they're saying without being a high-level demon. But I don't actually think she taught Estarossa any of his techniques or anything like that. I just think that she might be a well-thought-of demon, but I don't think, like I said, she taught Estarossa. Also, when she was checking out Estarossa, I was like, calm down, lady. Like, you need to calm down, lady. Just take it easy. Stop checking him out, man. That's like, he's a prince, bro. You can't do that shit. So I was like, okay, that's all cool. But I then liked the conversation between the three brothers, and I liked how transparent everyone was with their intentions and their feelings in the meeting. Obviously, if they're planning any form of treachery or anything like that, they didn't bring that up. Like, I'm going to betray you, by the way. But they straight up told Meliodas, like, we're going to try and kill Elizabeth. Like, we want to kill Elizabeth. Friggin' Chandler, even though he loves Meliodas, he's like, I tried to kill Elizabeth, but he keeps getting in the way. And Meliodas straight up tells them, like, in retort, he's like, yeah, the only reason I want to be Demon King is to rid myself and Elizabeth of our curses. And then obviously Zeldris goes apeshit, like, you can't be a Demon King just to do shit like that. You're spitting on our name. So then they try and obviously take out Meliodas, but Meliodas absolutely dominates both of his brothers, and they both come at him together, and that was awesome to see. This isn't the same Meliodas as 3,000 years ago. Merlin said that he was stronger now, or he is stronger now than he was back then, but Zeldris couldn't even lift a finger against him, and he wields the Demon King's power. We'll come on to that later. Estarossa seemed to fare a little bit better. He could at least maintain some element of being upright, but even then, he still got smashed down after Meliodas kind of just flicked a hand towards him, like, get your ass back down. So that was awesome to see. We then find out, though, this is coming back to the Demon King's power and Zeldris. We find out that Meliodas can't undo the curses with just Zeldris' power. He needs a power equal to the Demon King, and Zeldris isn't at that level. And even though Zeldris wields some of the power of the Demon King, he doesn't wield all of it. So we then find out something else. Actually, the Demon King originally halved when he was going to take over dominion of the demon world. He decided he wanted to give half of his power to someone else so that he could quicken up the pace, so that he can do this. He could spread the load almost, share the load. But he didn't give, in the end, half of his power to just one individual, because then that person would have been in direct competition with the current Demon King, or with the then Demon King, or with the aspiring to be Demon King. So he then decided the more efficient thing to do would be to split his power in half and give 50% of that to 10 individuals. So split those 50%, that 50% of his power to 10 individuals, so they each get 5% of his power, and those 10 individuals, as you may know, are the 10 Commandments. So even though Zeldris wields the Demon King's power, he is not the equivalent of the 50% power made up of the Commandments, and therefore he is not powerful enough to get rid of the curses that both Meliodas and Elizabeth have. So he's not a direct 50% or 100% of the Demon King. He wields some of the Demon King's power, but even Zeldris in this chapter says he doesn't hold a candle to his dad. Then the question is, what did Meliodas tell Zeldris that made him calm down when he was in that rage? I want to be Demon King, you're not going to be Demon King, I'm going to kick your ass. So it can't have been anything to do with Gelda, I thought, because she was killed, unless of course Meliodas didn't kill her. But then what would Zeldris' motivation be for assuming the mantle of Demon King? What would it be? Like, what's driving him? Is his driving thing that if he thinks Gelda is still alive, I was going to say Zelda, would he be thinking of assuming the mantle of Demon King and then establishing a free mixing between the tribes, even though that's exactly the same thing Meliodas was exiled for? So it can't. I don't think it's that. That's not something that would drive him so much. Well, it could be, but I don't think he would be a free mixing type of guy. He calls goddesses filthy in this chapter alongside Cusack. So I was like, it can't be something like that. It can't be Gelda. So did Meliodas tell Zeldris that if the curse were to be lifted, that he would then die and the title of Demon King would then go to Zeldris? Once again, I doubt that, because that doesn't tie in with the conversation. Meliodas says, I know exactly I know what drives you. I know why you're so obsessed with becoming Demon King. So he wouldn't just then whisper to him, I'm gonna die. It's okay. You can carry on. It's fine. Don't worry about it. It's not gonna be anything like that, because it doesn't tie in with the conversation. So we need to know why Zeldris is so obsessed with becoming the Demon King. And Gelda seems like a good shout if she's not dead, but I feel it's something more than that. I feel it's beyond that, and this may even concern the mothers of the three great evil stars, whether they possess one mother that they all come from, or whether they possess 2 or 3 different mothers, one each, or who knows. But I think it might have something to do with a more mother figure than Gelda or anybody else. So yeah, we'll see how that goes. We then have actually a little side note where we find out that Frodrin escaped from a different seal made by a different goddess. So that's how Frodrin managed to escape, and he didn't escape from the Ten Commandments seal, which was a different seal made by a different goddess. And the humans of Danafor then must have accidentally, I assume, broken his seal, Frodrin's, allowing him to escape, and then the rest is history, with him going into Dreyfus and then blackmailing Hendrickson, and then all the Holy Knights being assholes and stuff like that. So that was just a really important side note, to be fair. Zeldris and Estarossa are then set to the task of recovering the commandments, not the actual demonic people, but the actual commandments themselves, the intangible power given to them by the demon king. So there was a question which asked if you could quit being a demon commandment. The answer is no. You can't really quit being a commandment. You retain your commandments so long as you wish. So if you feel, if a demon felt, I want this guy to be my successor, I no longer want to carry this commandment, I want this guy to carry the commandment, they wouldn't necessarily be able to switch that commandment to that person of their choosing. But the fact that they do not want to be a commandment anymore, they would be allowed. They would then be eligible to have their commandment taken from them by someone who's able to do it. For instance, the Demon King, Zeldris Meliodas. So if you retain your commandment, you retain your commandment so long as you wish, is that one. Or if you are rendered powerless or unable to fight. For instance, Garan, his commandment should be pretty easy to take because he's been rendered useless. He's been rendered unable to fight. So even if a commandment dies, actually, the commandment itself still needs to be extracted from the body of the dead commandment. Technically, Zeldris should then be able to jack Garen's commandment pretty easily. No, I mean he's been rendered useless. He's rendered unable to fight. I assume he's not dead, but he can't fight. So I thought Zeldris should just be able to get it from a distance. Use his admonition, was it, and just to gather Garen's commandment that easily. Just say admonition and it pops up. But then this brings up that whole proximity issue of how close does someone have to be to have their commandment taken by someone like Zeldris or Meliodas. They have to be in direct contact with them or something like that. Because Glox and Dolo had theirs taken from a distance, if you remember correctly. I'm pretty sure their eyes, the blackness of the demon clan just kind of washed away from a distance. And Zeldris was in like Camelot, and these guys were training Diane and King, so they were ages away. But Garen still has his commandment, and so does Metasula, so there's got to be some sort of proximity issue going on there, because technically Zeldris should have both of their commandments easy. Elizabeth then doesn't we find out, this is another one of the side notes, that Elizabeth doesn't automatically remember who she is, and therefore doesn't always have a traumatic 3-day version of the final destination. I thought this was pretty self-explanatory, but people on Reddit were like pretty talkative about this, and there must have been some sort of issue where people were thinking that no matter which life Elizabeth was leading, she would eventually remember who she was and then die 3 days hence. But this chapter says, nah, that it ain't like that. I thought this was pretty self-explanatory, because Meliodas purposefully hid information from her, hinting that the more information she had, the closer she would be to remembering who she was back then. Well, the more information she had about goddesses and demons. So if she just never came across any information about goddesses or demons, she would be fine all the way into old age, and that's what happened. That's what Nakaba says happens in this chapter. So that's all there is to it. We find out also in one of these side notes that Merlin was taught by both her father and OG Gauther. Now Gauther, we all have like this spot for Gauther because we think he's freaking cool, man. I think he's cool as hell. So she's a powerful mage, and she must have had innate ability, because she was taught by her father, and she was the daughter of her father, but she was taught by two powerful ass mages, especially Gauther, who was recognized to be so powerful a mage that the Demon King forced a commandment upon him. He forced selflessness upon him, and obviously Gauther wasn't so happy about that, refused to act upon his commandment duties, I assume, and was imprisoned for that. So then we come to nearing the end of the chapter, where once again the Sins are in trouble. Zeldris and Estarossa will encounter them first on their search for the commandments at large, because Merisula is there, and they already have, in terms of the demons, they already have 4 commandments, including Grey Roads, which was acquired by Meliodas. They have Grey Road, they have Grey Road, they have Gauther, Glox, and Dolo. They have all 4 of those commandments, but they also have, they're in possession of Zeldris and Estarossa, so that's 6 there. So they have 4 left to get, which is Merisula, Garan, Monspiet, and Derriere. And now Monspiet and Derriere, I'm hoping I wanted them to just live their lives, in that cabin, but they're gonna get wrecked. So Estarossa at the moment seems to be the shady one. Neither of his brothers trust him. He's after Elizabeth. Obviously, Meliodas is gonna be like, "Hey, get away from my lady." And Zeldris is like, "Don't try and think about taking the commandments for yourself. I'll kick the shit out of you." But we don't know which of the two of them is stronger. Zeldris maybe should be because he's the Demon King's representative, but Estarossa was the one that was able to stay slightly upright against Meliodas. So who knows? Then we have the last part, which is just speculation. Will Ban be back to save the sins against Estarossa and Zeldris? Now, I hope so. I hope he does come back, but I also hope that he was unable to steal the emotions of Meliodas from the Demon King, because Meliodas has been cool as hell all the way throughout this chapter and last chapter. These last two chapters, he's been awesome, and it's nice seeing a more serious version of Meliodas, not taking any shit and just going in. I'm also hoping that Ban hasn't become so powerful that he can just tank Estarossa and Zeldris, and maybe one of them, maybe he can take on one of them, which would be good enough. He may even try to actually help them steal the commandments from all the other commandments and ensuring the safe delivery of them to Meliodas. That would be cool. And during his journey, he could find out more about Meliodas, his past, his family, and really learn about who his best friend is. So overall, these chapters were really good. I really enjoyed them, and that's about it. I'd give these chapters as a collective about an 8.5 out of 10, just because of the sheer volume of things we found out. This is almost 20 minutes long, as long as the One Punch Man chapter I had yesterday, which was like 143 pages. So you can see the context, like 143 pages compared to just 40 pages, and there's just been a lot of information in this. So yeah, let me know what you guys thought. Like, comment, subscribe, all that good stuff. Share the video if you want, and I will see you guys in a bit.